you're basically asking, what's the meaning of life if there's no God? We can make our own meanings. You're still a human being. You're no less of a human being because there's no God. You still have a world of art and entertainment and sex and drugs and family and relationships. Everything that makes life interesting and worth living, that's still here. The only thing that's gone is that one religious element, and who's to say that really has to go? No one's saying that. An atheistic world would not necessarily be a world devoid of all spirituality. I'm personally not interested in spirituality, but there's plenty of atheists, like Sam Harris, who do believe in a spirituality without religion, spirituality without theistic beliefs, and more power to them. I have no objection to that.
Number 8, if there is no God, no salvation, no responsibility, and no commitment to one another, then why do you feel the need to spread the news of atheism to a deceived or Christian world? What do you hope will come of it, and why will that even matter?
See, here's another question that's built upon a false premise, because you say if there's no God, which is fine, and then you say no salvation, no responsibility, no commitment to one another, as if those three things naturally follow suit, and they don't. They don't at all. And it's not even, I don't even see how I should have to argue this, because that demonstrably doesn't follow. People who don't believe in God can still believe in salvation, are still responsible human beings. I think a lot of the times more responsible. So, once again, I can't answer this question because it's based upon a false premise.
Number 9. So no one can study everything, right? No one can study everything, past, present, future. No one has infinite knowledge. Does it take faith? Does it take faith to be an atheist? Faith means simply believing in something you can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. So just answer me this: does it take faith to be an atheist?
Well, it takes about as much faith to not believe in God as it does to not believe in Zeus or Odin or any of those other gods. That's really the simplest answer. I'm not going to build upon it because it's such a fucking cliche at this point.
Number 10. In conjecture with that question, that number 9 question, knowing the way the world is today, the order and the sequence of the world, the universe, does it take more faith to believe in a designer than it takes to believe in random acts?
No, because we can see the acts. We can see cause and effect happening all the time. It's like we can explain rain with using cause and effect. Evaporation, condensation, all that shit. We can see in our world causality, okay? We can see the causal relation between most things that happen in our world. At this point, we couldn't always, but at this point in our history, we pretty much can. But when we go back to the beginning, which is really when we have to decide the God question, we have to ask ourselves, basically, I don't understand the logic of Christians at that point, because they go back to the beginning of time and they say, well, the original effect must have had a cause, and that cause was God. He was the unmoved mover. And they seem to be satisfied with that, and I don't see how, because God is an effect too. He'd have to be an effect. He can't just be. You can't just have, there's nothing, and then there's suddenly a perfect, all-knowing, all-powerful being. And you can't just have it that there was always an all-knowing, all-powerful being, because you could just as easily say it was the universe, which we know exists, because we live in it. Any sort of reasoning you can come up with to defend the idea of God, it really falls flat on its face. there's really no reason to believe, in the complete absence of evidence, that he exists. So I think it takes a lot more faith to believe in something that has never been seen, whose existence cannot be inferred in any way, than it does to not believe in something that has never been seen and whose existence can never be inferred.
Many atheists claim that God has never interacted with the natural world, and if he did, that's all it would take for them to believe and be theistic. Well, in the past 50 years, there have been hundreds of thousands of supernatural events recorded in hospitals, churches, and normal, unbiased places and situations. These include miracle healings, demon and angel sightings, ghost sightings, near-death experiences, and all other supernatural events. Out of all of those in just the past 50 years, not to mention the millions and millions before that, do you believe that each and every person and each and every account of these were delusional or were hallucinated by the person? Do you believe that none of them really happened? It was all just self-deceived?
Miracle healings. I personally have never seen anyone become miraculously healed. I've never heard a legitimate story of someone being miraculously healed. I've never heard it from a legitimate source. I've never opened an issue of Scientific American or the New Scientist or even the New York Times or the Los Angeles Times. I've never opened any reputable news or information source, looked in there and seen a totally unquestioned example of a miraculous healing. I've never heard of that. I've been told anecdotes by people who couldn't provide any evidence whatsoever, other than the anecdote itself. So I don't believe in that. You have demon and angel sightings. The thing about that is, that if you're going to believe that there's demon angel sightings, then you should know that they happen in every culture, and no matter what the prominent religion is. Islamic people claim to see demons and angels. American Indians claim to see demons and angels, or the equivalent in their mythology.